back everybody to the art experience. I am the art experience. Hope you're okay on this rainy day. Um, Today, I want to talk about. I don't think I gave this really much looking Hagakure by Yamamoto. So I'm going to do a little bit more of a deep dive on that, and also I want to mention that I have a channel which is going up my life. So this channel I'm just for those videos that I try and express um, concepts and ideas and truth those ideas and concepts. Um, as opposed to the other one was called Irish Food and Wine. So I recommend you that one actually start uploading some of audio on that one and okay, so without further ado, this is translated by William. I've already done a few executed uh, executed excerpts from the previous. Today I want to go on. Uh, I am getting older. I am getting older. Okay, so um, so I think it's so this section here, let's start there. Uh, I'll read out what it says. So the Hagakure and practice shadow. The manual samurai practice short anecdote section like philosophy, way of not a book of philosophy and actually not and such from wide variety often work represents an far removed from modern practice rather than rational Bushido the way of dying that only summarizes spiritual diet at home while Hagakure was a master text not only warrior battle also Nabashima like which the author of philosophy later came to be recognized as classic exposition of samurai thought came managed generation of Japanese monster Yokishima was the most Hagakure featured prominently ghost stories uh, Japanese right there and like that are finding their old and it started about the shows like uh, one is the large section Sega Saga Sega Saga Yamamoto is the name of the Yamamoto is almost actually the author of the book. This pair of heights and vigorous of our not sure what to think about that. So
Speakerphone. Speakerphone. Now, how is it? I'm coming straight through the phone now, so hopefully you can hear me. Um, let's see. I'm just going to look here for a second. Okay. Yeah. Um, it's going through now. I saw that the mic levels are fine. So I'll just take this off. So yes, these are the two pieces of calligraphy of the actual author of the book, the Hagakure, Yamamoto Tsunetomo. That's his writing. So they're two haiku. So, and this book is dedicated to Thomas Constantine Levidiotis. Levidiotis. And I'll read some of the forward. Okay? Forward. The philosophy of Hagakure represents an attitude far removed from our. Okay, that was the start. Its appeal is intuitive rather than rational. And one of its prime suppositions is that a person can go anywhere he likes by means of simple cerebration. Intuition based on sincerity and moral guidance leads one back to the bedrock. It is nothing to say about either time or profit, nor does it advocate wasting time with vague contemplations of the void. One lives in the world and reacts to things around him. The question is where one plants his feet. Which one, Jimmy Johnny? This one or this one? This one my mother gave to me. And this one I bought two of these. This is natural hemp. It's completely natural, which is why it's falling apart. And the other one is as well. I actually had to get the zip done on this before the winter. But like the elbows are gone out of it and the edges. This is complete. I don't know. I think this is natural wool as well. I'm not sure. But my mother actually bought me this years ago. So I'm really, I'm really happy to have it. Oh, Bazzer. I thought I said Blazer. Sorry. Gotcha. Okay. Bazzer. All right. So yeah, shaved it yesterday. Um, Thanks, mate. All right. So hope you're well this morning, Jimmy Johnny. Hope you're well. I'm reading from the Hagakure here, and I said I did a little bit of a look into it. I did a little bit of a review of it when I first brought it out. but I'm going to go on a more of a deep dive with it today. So I think this is by the guy, translated by William Scott Wilson. I think this is who's talking here in the forward. It says basically, I first became interested in the book while studying Japanese in Monterey, California in 1972. A Japanese acquaintance of mine suggested that since I enjoyed the work of Mishima Yukio, Hagakure might be of interest to me. A few weeks later, I received various editions from Japan, including Mishima's Hagakure Yumo, Introduction to Hagakure, and began to work on the translation, thinking that I might finish it by the end of the term. As it turned out, the translation took a considerably longer time, including a period of research at Aichi Prefectural University, and the use of a great many more references then were available to me in California. The 300 sections given here. By the way, good. Glad to hear it, Jimmy Johnny. Okay, so anybody wants to talk about anything, throw it up there in the chat. We can do that. I'm reviewing this book here, and but it's just to kind of fill the spaces until you actually come up with something that we want to talk about. Okay, all right. So the 300 selections given here, there are more than 1,300 in all, represent what I feel to be the core of the book. While I have based the selections on those given in other edited works, I've also chosen many that Japanese editors passed over if I thought them to be central, illustrative, or simply interesting to the Western reader. The text has traditionally been divided into 11 chapters under such headings as Precepts, The Sayings of Lord Naoshige, Stories of Other Clans, or as in the final chapter, simply Events Not Related in the other 10 chapters. The selections given here have been taken from all but the 5th chapter, which is for the most part a record of dates and notable events such as birthdays, the return of the Nabeshima Lord from Edo, which is Tokyo, the old word for Tokyo, or the author's visit to the castle. The original manuscript does not exist today, although there are several copies, slightly differing manuscripts, such as the Kurihara-hon, the Takashiro-hon, and the Nakano-hon. I have based these translations primarily on the Mochiiki Nashemake-hon, as given in the Nihon Shiso Taike, Outline of Japanese Thought, Volume 26. This is all the forward, by the way. So, in appreciation, I sincerely wish to thank Professor Yagi Tsuyoshi of Aichi Prefectural University, who kindly guided me throughout this project, Miss Matsudo Nobuko, who helped me through parts of the translation where I had the most difficulty, and the late Professor Ivan Morris, who encouraged me in this work. Any and all mistakes are my own. There is an introduction here. I don't know if you want to hear the introduction. Give me a message in the chat if you want to hear some of the introduction. I can go straight on to the actual chapters and read out some of the paragraphs instead, you know. So let me know. Was in Japan. Irish and Third says was in Japan in the 90s. They would spew things that didn't sound too friendly on the street. Not many. I reckon they thought we were Yanks. Yeah. Sounds like a great society with strong in-group preference. Okay, so you're not telling me whether you want me to read from the introduction or not. So what I'm going to do is going to go straight forward onto some of the chapters and some of the sentences from those chapters. So from the first chapter, I think I read that previously, so I'm going to move on 2 or 3 from that. Okay, so this will give you an idea. This is going to give you an idea into the mindset of, we say, a Japanese retainer, samurai, from this period of Japan. Okay, so here we go. A man is a good retainer to the extent that he earnestly places importance in his master. This is the highest sort of retainer. If one is born into a prominent family that goes back for generations, it is sufficient to deeply consider the matter of obligation to one's ancestors. to lay down one's body and mind, and to earnestly esteem one's master. It is further good fortune if, more than this, one has wisdom and talent and can use them appropriately. But even a person who is good for nothing and exceedingly clumsy will be a reliable retainer if only he has the determination to think earnestly of his master. Having only wisdom and talent is the lowest tier of usefulness. Isn't that interesting? I think that is fascinating. And the reason I think that is fascinating is that it's it's a different way of like in our world we think in terms of careers, we think in terms of vocations and careers, and we think it's we don't invest our very life into service. You know, we don't do that. It is a more surface level uh, following of pursuit of career in our society. Whereas this is a window into the, yeah, I suppose it'd be like, we say, I suppose what some people might term as and would say bodyguards of very rich and wealthy people, that mercenaries who have chosen the career or vocation of being a bodyguard to, say, a very wealthy person. Again, though, the difference is, well, I may be wrong. I do believe that certain men in those careers would have personal philosophies that uh, would be akin to such a thing. That they have an ethos and a philosophy that goes above money, goes ahead of money. Um, that's early. Irish entire slip. And that's early career. You lose interest later on. Yeah, well, um, what I'm saying is that there are some people in these vocations. Get you now in a second, Jimmy Johnny. I see what you're saying. I'll just finish my thought on this, okay? Uh, we say there are people in this world who work for money, but they have a personal ethos and philosophy that goes ahead of the money. And I would say that would reach more towards what was actually expected of people, the way people were expected to be in their being, around being something like a retainer to a lord in feudal Japan, you know, a samurai. So I'll read it one more time and then I'll get on to that. Good afternoon, Colin. How are you doing? I'm going back to Jimmy Johnny. Don't worry. I see what you're saying, and so so now I want to finish this sentence first. A man is a good retainer to the extent that he is earnestly places importance in his master. This is the highest sort of retainer. If one is born into a prominent family that goes back for generations, it is sufficient to deeply consider the matter of obligation to one's ancestors, to lay down one's body and one's mind, to earnestly esteem one's master. It is further good fortune if, more than this, one has wisdom and talent and can use them appropriately. But even a person who is good for nothing and exceedingly clumsy will be a reliable retainer if only he has the determination to think earnestly of his master. Having only wisdom and talent is the lowest tier of usefulness. It's a different embodiment. It's a different embodiment of Colin. It's a different embodiment of way of being at that time. Is what I'm trying to portray there. Jimmy Johnny says, I found that at Kickoff catered to non-maskers Tuesdays and Thursdays. Ah, come on, lad. Come on. Come on, man. Seriously? Come on, seriously? Let me see. Here's my internet running here. It is. Yeah. So, do I have it on silent? I don't. I'll turn my own phone to silent so that there's no interruption. But Bob Biker, I don't think that's true. I think my sound is coming through fine. I checked it in my in the settings. The sound is fine. So, come on, Jimmy Johnny. Come on, that has to be a joke. Seriously, seriously. Come on, like that's now like a Zen koan in my mind. It's kind of like, what is the sound of one hand clapping? You know, it's like, yeah, the virus doesn't take, like, if they're going with the narrative of a virus, like how can it take a break on Tuesdays and Thursdays between a certain time? You know, but Jimmy Johnny says 555 onto a random and complain. It's ridiculous. It's like communism, like in 101, you know, or in the common parlance, 101. That doesn't make any sense. Like, it's kind of like the whole thing whereby, they're supposed to, where they're supposed to take a break was from level 5 for Christmas, and bring it back to, would say, like a level 3 or something, you know, like if it was a real pandemic, if there was a real um, uh, transmissible disease, um, then there would be no taking breaks, you know. So it doesn't make any sense, you know. What am I wearing? I'm wearing what am I wearing? I'm wearing clothes, dude. What's wrong with you? If it's gonna go down this line, then okay, just keep it. I'm wearing clothes. Like what the, So right. So like they're supposed to take a break coming up to Christmas, as in um, they're supposed to leave off on level 5, bring it down to, say, um, bring it down to level 3. But like if it's a real transmissible disease, then why leave off level 5? Why not keep it at level 5? It's not like the thing takes a break. You know, so again, I'll reiterate that I believe this is resizing the economy. This is resizing and resetting the economy, and it also is about bringing about um, another way of for humans to exist in the world economically and structurally. I mean, this is what I believe. So the fact then, like, if that's true, Jimmy Johnny, that if that is true, then that's the same thing. It's like, how does a transmissible disease take a break on Tuesdays and Thursdays between 6 and 6:30? It doesn't make any sense. Well, it does make sense if you understand what I just said, that it's actually not about a transmissible disease. It's about the resizing and the resetting of the economy. Closing down businesses that they couldn't do otherwise under the legal system that exists, because they would have to say, um, they would have to say, you need to close your business. If we want to actually bring this down, we want to get rid of all these middle tier businesses. And so you have to close your business. You have to close your business. But they can't, because they're protected under the legal system. So by actually creating a narrative of a transmissible disease, then they can, we say, get those businesses closed and not be held accountable to the legal system. They create that, like our government has created laws which are outside of the previous legal system. They're creating new laws which bypass their accountability for closing businesses. Okay, I'm going to read one or two more sentences, paragraphs. So this is page 18, by the way. So the next paragraph in the Hagakure, Book of the Samurai, is, according to the nature, they're both people who have quick intelligence and those who must withdraw and take time to think things over. Looking into this thoroughly, if one thinks selflessly and adheres to the 4 vows of the Nabashime, Nabeshima samurai, surprising wisdom will occur regardless of the high or low point of one's nature. People think that they can clear up profound matters if they consider them deeply. But they exercise perverse thoughts and come to no good because they do the reflecting with only self-interest at the center. It is difficult for a fool's habit to change to selflessness. In confronting a matter, however, if at first you leave it alone, fix the four vows in your heart, exclude self-interest, and make an effort, you will not go far from your mark. That's an interesting bunch of sentences there as well. Colin Roach says, something I wrote a few weeks ago, a few words with regards to what's going on here. And this is, Colin writes a little bit of poetry, so we'll read out one of his. It says, storms crash against the wall, but they do not crumble, battered endlessly throughout the centuries, but still the castle stands. Be like the castle. Very good. I like that. Storms crash against the wall, but they do not crumble, battered endlessly through the centuries, but still the castle stands. Be like the castle. Very good. Okay. So, all right. So, should I read out the paragraphs, or should I read out the paragraphs and give a little bit of my own opinion about what I think they are? Well, I'm going to do it anyway. So, let's see. I think what he's saying here is that, I'll read it out really quickly again. Jimmy Johnny says, Klaus Schwab is like the ultimate 007, Austin Powers bad guy, even down to his ridiculous accent. Well, that may be an indicator of something, Jimmy Johnny. That may be an indicator of something, you know? If that's what you're thinking when you look at him and listen to him, then, you know, maybe you're right. Maybe it's a stage. Maybe it is acting. Maybe it is theater. Maybe it's not real. Well, that's some task and feat. If you have weathered the storms going into being pestered by shops, local shops, you know. Okay, so according to their nature, there are both people who have quick intelligence and those who must withdraw and take time to think things over. Looking into this thoroughly, if one thinks selflessly and adheres to the four vows of the Nabeshima samurai, which was his clan, this guy's clan, surprising wisdom will occur regardless of the high or low point of one's nature. So he's saying that people think they can clear up profound matters if they consider them deeply, but they exercise perverse thoughts and come to no good because they do their reflecting with only self-interest at the center. It is so again, this is kind of like a reflection of like a professional retainer to a lord in feudal Japan. There's an adherence here which has to be adhered to if you are going to fully embody the position that you hold as a samurai retainer in Japan. So he is basically he puts his lord first. He is in service to a lord. His martial abilities, his warrior abilities are in service to a lord. And that is how they constructed their society then. And so he's saying that that thinking about things outside of, he mentions four vows. He mentions four vows. Now, if you were listening, you would have heard what I said about that. Go back and watch the previous thing to what I just said in the video here. I said what I believe this is. Okay? So it is Jimmy Johnny. And however, there are real consequences to people's actions and people taking tickets. People existing within their system. if you play it at their game, if you engage fully in their system, you then must take their consequences. You know, and this is why I keep saying on every stream, I keep saying grow your own food. I keep saying have large families, develop community with like-minded individuals, um, have in-group preference, and get God or get a moral order. You know, you need to get a moral order or take back on Christianity because if you don't share belief with another person in your community, how can you trust them? That's how high trust is created because you will trust the person that you invite over to your house to have dinner with you and your wife and your children. You know, if you know that this person adheres to a moral order, to a similar belief. Two people disappeared straight out of the room when I started talking about morality and about Christian beliefs. Look, two gone straight away. Oh, can't be dealing with that. Well, good luck. Good luck wearing the mask. Good luck standing 2 feet from everybody else, and good luck on every lockup. You know, because you're playing their system. You're playing a system which gives you no out from the scenario or situation. There's another one gone. We're down again. Another. So like people want to continue to watch the pornography. People want to still get their fancy cars. And they want to have all the fucking wealth and luxuries in the world and have all their sweeties and their alcohol and all the rest. Drink, 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 eat. Where's my women? La la la. Right? Fine. Okay, do that. But you are a slave to your own desires. And now you are actually a farm animal to the people doing this. You know, you're a farm animal to them. You basically will take the vaccine. You will continue to wear a mask when you go into shop, and you will continue to believe that there is a transmissible disease, which you won't get out of this unless you actually, um, what I've just said, the things I've just suggested. I can keep saying it over and over again. It's not just Christianity. Like Christianity suits Ireland, it suits Europe because that's who we are. That's what we evolved under. Like in other parts of the world, from North Africa and the Middle East down, like Islam suits them, and that's their moral order. But there's a reason with after mass immigration into France, with the rise in numbers of Muslims in France, why Macron is attacking Islam right now and they're creating all these false flag events around, we'll say, terrorist attacks. There's a reason they're doing that because they can't have religion in France. They want a neoliberal LGBTQ plus order that they can control the people through their desires, not through the people. If people start getting a moral order and actually have a higher power to concede to, their will to, well, then Macron gets no power. You understand? It's really simple. It's so simple. It's obvious, And so, like, they can't have religion on the ascendancy. They can't. I mean, and look at China. How China deals with religious minorities in China. Same thing. They can't enact communism in China if if Islam grows or if Christianity grows. They can't. So that's my piece on it there this morning. Like I don't know how far to keep pushing that, but like you have to, like, you've been living on a system created by them for the last since all your life, in which you've been able to reach out to shelves onto shelves and grab some food and keep some pieces of paper for that. That's a system that they created. Like food grows in the ground. It grows in the ground. Like if all of this continues and businesses and economy and food supply chains start to crumble and dismantle, well, how are you going to get your food? How are you going to get food if or food of worth or food with nutritious food? How are you going to get it? Yeah, it's their system. Like your food grows in the ground. It grows off of um, um, living plants. That's where your food comes from. It also is the animals that you herd and rear and oversee and take care of. You know, chickens. I mean, like if you could have, we say, a few chickens that give you eggs every day, you're sorted. You're absolutely sorted. You know, like yeah, the food becomes a little bit more monotonous. It becomes a little bit more uh, less varied. But that's the way it always was until this system took over. You know, like and until we say all the advances in flight and sea travel and all of that. Like it's the economic system that created the drive for those things to be created. Like it was financial incentive, you know, and it was um, high outlier IQs of Europeans that that boosted, and they were allowed to be. They were allowed to actually come up with their inventions and their discoveries, you know. But then a particular system took over. That system took over, and I think when the suffering gets strong enough, Jimmy Johnny, when suffering gets strong enough, then people will be under enough stress to actually have to make some real decisions. You know, it's usually suffering that causes people to make the big decisions in life. You know, it's it's stress, suffering, coming from particular pressure points, like, and then people just have to make decisions. You know, it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be bad. It doesn't have to be hard. I'm just saying that I'm just saying that there are alternative answers. There are answers other than this staying within the same system all the time. You know, like if we all create a community together, and I have a particular group of skills, you have different group of skills. You know, Charlie over there has another bunch of skills. Mike over there has another bunch of skills, plumber, electrician, whatever. Like we've got our community. You know, we've got guys who can set things up. You know, if we got some guy who knows about building houses, building whatever type of house. You know, it doesn't have to be concrete house. It can be cob house. You know, tree trunks mixed with earth and dung. You know, fine. Those houses last when you treat them right. They last. That's a living dwelling. That's a dwelling in which you can live in on a piece of land, and that you can grow food around. You know, and you're surviving. You know, you're living. You're surviving. Um, so that's community. You know, you get to know people who you can trust. But how do you know you can trust them? You know, like there's a reason European civilization did so well for so long, and I'm going to keep saying it was because it was Christian. There was a moral order. I could trust that you wouldn't take my wife. I could trust that you wouldn't, you know, molest or abuse my daughter or my son because you believe in a higher, you believe in God's law. You believe like there's natural law and there's God's law. God's law is above natural law. Natural law is might makes right, survival of the fittest, all these things. But it doesn't mean a damn thing unless, as humans, we can order that and survive that, you know, together. You understand? PUP Superdome. What is a PUP, Jimmy Johnny? Is that the that's what's the PUP? Is the PUP? See, this is why I'd love to have a laptop. If I had a laptop now, I could open that up in a browser window and we could search for that and actually explore it together. You know, hopefully soon enough I'll get a new hard drive for that laptop and get it sorted. And we can use open broadcast software through StreamYard through onto YouTube, and we can do those things. You know, um, I don't know what PUP is. You're saying Superdole in brackets. Is PUP something like? Is it the uh, Coroni payout? Is that what it is? I can't say it, or the algorithm will just kick in. Um, is it the CV number payout that the government has been giving to people? Um, In come the bots. I know this. I know there's pay trolls have been here since they started this video, but there's there's uh there's one anyway for sure. But I know the others are as well. Pandemic universal payment. But what is that? Is that the like whenever I talk to people, they're talking about things like they just call it the CVD, CVD. You know what I'm saying? The payment. From their jobs. Wow, I just leapt up to doubled in numbers. People watching all of a sudden. Very strange. 350 weeks. Yeah. So people I've talked to call it the CO it payment. You know. Um, is that the people who we say aren't working but are getting paid for being off work? Yeah, because that's the number I saw quoted, 350. Yeah. Do you want to see what the paid trolls usually say? Right. This is their opening statement, right? And they put a little wine glass at the end, like that. I'll block him, right? Watch him come back now in about 3 minutes, right? Block user. And watch the same guy or in a different guise, a different account, come back in and say something. You watch now in a second, right? How do I hide? There we go. Okay, go. That's all right. So yeah, I've said if you want to go back and see what we've been talking um, about with say the transmissible disease and all of that. Yeah, I know, but uh, yeah, I also have my suspicions. We're just going to ignore them and just keep going, right? So, you enjoy your wine. You enjoy your wine. I know that's some kind of a key signal or a key symbol. I get it. I get it. I get it. Yeah, but there's others here as well who don't use the wine glass and they're the same. So we'll just keep going. Um, so let's see. Blum, 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 blum. Yeah, so I was talking about that particular. It's really what I like about this book is that it gives you insight into how people behave previous to this monetary system. This book, again, I'm reviewing the Hagakure, the book of the samurai by Yamamoto Tsunetomo, and he was a samurai during feudal times in Japan. And it's really interesting to actually see how he talks about his life as a retainer, a samurai, retainer to his lord at the time. Because he says here there were four, if I get this right now, there were four vows. They take four vows in his particular clan fight. They take four vows, and he says that when they think upon matters, they have to refer back to those four vows because he is a retainer. He has to revolve his thinking and his behavior solely around being a samurai retainer. And he's making the point here, and he's making the case that when you don't do that, self-interest gets in the way. And that's how strongly, um, that's how strongly they have to align their being with their job choice. You know, that's it's completely different from today. Today, like he can die. He will die for his master. Like he will die for the lord of his clan. And that's not a childish thing. That is a way of being at that time. And so you can see how we say the very fact of life and death hanging over you informs your behavior and informs your choices as your job choice in that time. Whereas today, it's all about money. It's basically, how long will I work? How much am I getting paid? So on and so forth. Where do my allegiances lie? Well, they lie to myself. They lie to my how many bottles of beer I can get this evening or tomorrow. How how big my house can be. How big, how good a car I can get. Can I get two cars? and it's all about self, 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 self. So that is a very profound sentence. There's a very profound paragraph in this book. And you can see there's more there. You know. So, and again, so I'll read that again. Okay, so I think that's worth reading again. So, according to the nature, there are both people who have quick intelligence and those who must withdraw and take time to think things over. Looking into this thoroughly, if one thinks selflessly and adheres to the four vows of the Nabeshima samurai, that's his own plan, surprising wisdom will occur regardless of the high or low point of one's nature. People think that they can clear up profound matters if they consider them deeply, but they exercise perverse thought and come to no good because they do their reflecting with only self-interest at the center. And it's like if the numbers went down by half. They're really playing with the numbers here. That's not people. That's just people. That's just YouTube or whoever it is playing with the numbers. They're gassed out. It is difficult for a fool's habit to change to selflessness in confronting a matter. However, if at first you leave it alone, fix the four vows in your heart, exclude self-interest, and make an effort, you will not go far from your mark. I just think that is it's so relevant to where we're at right now in our society because people have become slaves to their own self-interest. People have become slaves to their own desires. And when I say slaves, what I mean is you could also say people of our time could say, well, you know, Yamamoto was a slave to his master, and in some respects he was, you know. However, he got great meaning in his life. He got great purpose, and he didn't suffer from anxiety of fretting over his own self-interest. He got purpose and meaning in being a vessel for his master, you know. And I just think the comparisons between then and now are just really fascinating to actually tie them together and see how they compare, you know. So Arjun Tart says companies say they are a family today. You fall for it in your early career, but you eventually realize the loyalty is only one way. Very good point. Very good point. Yes. Yes. But then I think Irish and Tart, I think that I think what's happening there is they're filling a void. You know, they are they're filling a void in the people who. That's a very good statement because to tease out and to unpack because like if people had large families, that void wouldn't be there. If having children was the order of the day and was the decree of your ethic, your morality in life, you know, then you would have children, and that would be your family. Whereas I think what's gone on here is that corporations, businesses are tying into that need, which has been superseded by commerce and by utilitarianism in our society. And I think that if you have another morality, if you have another system of thought and another system of ethics and being, which says that having lots of children is normal and it is decreed by a higher being, well then you don't get stripped and used by companies like that. I think that is a fantastic statement to make here at this point. Yeah. This is all thinly veiled national socialism. Not really sure what you mean. Are you talking about the system? Are you talking about? I know you're a paid troll, but you know, let's tease this out. What do you mean? This is all thinly veiled national socialism. What I'm saying, or are you talking about with what is here now in our society as put forward by companies and things? You know. Socialism is already here. Ireland is already a socialist state. National socialism? I hardly think so. I think the Irish have been had their identity removed. They've had it dismantled, and there are hundreds of thousands of people flooding in from other countries into this country to be low wage workers and consumers. So that's hardly nationalist, you know. Yeah, 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 yeah. What am I promoting? Betwixt says, what am I promoting? What am I promoting? That's a very, I would say, that is a very business-like mindset. What am I? I'm promoting wealth of being. I'm promoting uh, security for the self and loved ones. I'm promoting large families. I'm promoting um, morality. I'm promoting uh, communal structure. I'm promoting love of family. I'm promoting love of extended family. I'm promoting helping those in your community that you have a shared interest with. You know, really simple. Is that National Socialism? I have no idea. Yeah, I know. So we'll go one more, okay? Guys, that was really interesting. I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed that. And to get those comments from the true subs, um, their input there was was really good. And to be able to comment on it, and for you to allow me to comment on it is great. All right, so I'm going to read another. It's there's a lot in here, right? But I'm just going to read one more paragraph from the Hagakure, and I'll take a random page. There's just so much in here, you know. Okay, let's see. This is from the second chapter. Okay, yeah, okay. I'll read the second paragraph from the second chapter, and it goes like this. Meeting with people should be a matter of quickly grasping their temperament and reacting appropriately to this person and that, especially with an extremely argumentative person. After yielding considerably, one should argue him down with superior logic, but without sounding harsh, and in a fashion that will allow no resentment to be left afterwards. This is a function of both the heart and word. This was an opinion given by a priest concerning personal encounter. And that is the second. That's pretty self-explanatory, really. Okay. So this will give you an insight into those times. I did. I had a look at the chat. Um, I did. I did. Um, yeah, like there's a lot to be said about that, but it's like what is socialism? You know, what is socialism? That's a form of socialism. What is it? I mean, it's simply socialism is just looking out for your extended family. You know, I think socialism only really works among a group of people, a tribe of people who are um, who have vested interest, either genetically, ethnically, um, commercially, uh, or religiously. You know, I think it becomes harder when I don't think socialism is so much on the table when you have different groups among the categories that I just mentioned there. I don't think socialism becomes is tenable when you have those different interests. No, it's not. You're wrong about that. Well, what am I on native people? Yeah, sure. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? I mean, no, but like there's definitions to a nationalism and socialism. I am promoting big families. I'm promoting. What's wrong with that? I mean, every group of people should promote big family. You telling me that's wrong, and you're telling me that native people shouldn't do that? I mean, what's wrong with that? That makes no sense to me. So, like the Mondragon thing, um, it's interesting. It is interesting. Again, though, it's communal. I understand that. Um, but there has to be commitment to it. You know, that is something that. So, very interesting. So, like, all right. So there has to be an agreed upon understanding of why you're engaging in a high trust situation. You know, Ireland was able to engage in socialist programs while while everybody had a shared history and a shared culture and a shared heritage. But as you dismantle that, that becomes harder to do. And so what's going to happen is that you'll have different groups coming from different areas of the world that look at the world differently as groups. And they won't accept what is being put forward by the state, by the Irish state. And so you'll have a breakdown in communal interest as you go forward, you know? So for me to say, I believe that my people, the Irish, have a right to the land as bequeathed to them by their ancestors, the culture which was passed on to them, the land which was passed on to them, is the most normal thing in the world. It's the most normal thing in the world. And to find ways to actually say that I'm a bad person for doing that is representative and reflective of what you're on here to do. Is reflective of your mindset. Is reflective of your paycheck. All right, so I'm going to read one more of these, and then we'll head off. Okay, so it says here, there is surely nothing other than the single purpose of the present moment. A man's whole life is a succession of moment after moment. If one fully understands the present moment, there will be nothing else to do, and nothing else to pursue. Live being true to the single purpose of the moment. Everyone lets the present moment slip by, then looks for it as though he thought it were somewhere else. No one seems to have noticed this fact, but grasping this firmly, one must pile experience upon experience. And once one has come to this understanding, he will be a different person from that point on, though he may not always bear it in mind. When one understands this settling into single handedness, well, his affairs will thin out. Loyalty is also contained within this single mindedness. Again, it's like I think it's very much an expression of a warrior of that time. It's very much an expression of a vassal of that time. Um, as he ends that paragraph with loyalty is also contained within this single-mindedness. So he never deviates from that. You understand? He never deviates from it. So I'll read it one more time and then I'll bid you have a good day. So there is surely nothing other than the single purpose of the present moment. A man's whole life is a succession of moment after moment. If one fully understands the present moment, there will be nothing else to do and nothing else to pursue. Live being true to the single purpose of the moment. Everyone lets the present moment slip by, then looks for it as though he thought it were somewhere else. No one seems to have noticed this fact, but grasping this firmly, one must pile experience upon experience. And once one has come to this understanding, he will be a different person from that point on. Though he may not always bear it in mind, when one understands this settling into single mindedness, well, his affairs will thin out. Loyalty is also contained within single mindedness. The Hagakure, the book of the samurai. And if you want to do some more of that tomorrow, we can. I would like to move on to one or two other books eventually. But there's just so much in these books. There's so much in them to unpack and to reveal. That book especially is like traveling in time. It's like a time machine, you know. And I find that fascinating to look into another culture, another people's way of being in another time, you know. But it's not divorced from where we're at right now. It relates to it. It is a part of it, and it gives us insight into our own failures and our own successes and our own fleetingness, you know. Uh, so that's it there. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to leave it there. We've done an hour and 2 minutes, and I shall talk to you tomorrow.